All right, it's time to lay all the cards on the table. After watching this video, a big red button will appear in front of you and you'll have the chance to press it if you got the guts. And the very next day, your life will change. You will be able to approach women easily, build strong relationships, speak from a position of power, and feel that power. I'll explain why all the info you've read in pickup books and online articles never actually helped you. Why you kept getting it wrong, just like 98% of men. Any guy who's had even a little real world experience with women or just paid attention knows exactly what type of man women are drawn to. In short, it's the man who can say no, the man who stays indifferent, the one who's not a slave to beauty. He does what he wants, not what she wants. He jokes around with her, even teases her when it's called for. He creates emotional tensions on the first date, on the hundreds, so that she always feels like she's not in control. She senses that he's out of reach. She couldn't consume it. She couldn't tame him. She couldn't break him. She couldn't bend him. And what does she feel in the end? That he's untouchable and she wants him even more. We all know this. Now let's contrast that with the complete opposite, the so-called gentleman program. That's the guy who always says yes, who falls for looks or status, who does what the woman wants, thinking it will win her attraction. He's always trying, always careful. He's afraid of making bold moves. He's completely available and he doesn't even realize it. He's like a loyal little lapdog. Doesn't matter if he looks tough like a pit bull. Inside, lapdog. We all know that guy. Maybe you've read a few books and think you understand how it works. But here is the real problem for guys who can't seem to get results. The irrational urge to be liked by a woman. It's like you've got a program burned into your head. Picture it like a cassette or a floppy disk that says, nice guy. You run that same program over and over again and it doesn't work. So you go online, read some books and think, okay, I was just doing it wrong. I need to try it a little differently. You swap out the cassette for a new one that says alpha male. But here is the catch. You are still doing it to get her approval. You're still running the same old core program. You never changed the foundation. So here is what ends up happening. You open a book on relationships with a goal in mind to be liked. But in order to be liked, you have to stop trying to be liked. You get that, right? That's the paradox. And for most men, that idea, that core truth, is completely out of reach. As you grow, you'll have to let go of that desire. Otherwise, your growth stops right there. Now, pick up. Yeah, I criticize it, and not the techniques necessarily, but the philosophy behind it. Still, some parts are useful. Take this example. A guy starts approaching women on the streets. He's terrified of being rejected. Why? Because he's addicted to validation. If she says no, if she doesn't give her number, he thinks, I must be ugly, I'm worthless. But here is the key. In pickup, a lot of attention is placed on how you handle rejection. And over time, in different ways, it shifts your focus. The real goal, it's not getting her number, it's not getting her yes. The real goal is you did it. You took action, you felt alive, you had fun doing it. That's the shift. Most guys are out, they are chasing headaches. It's a common thing. You've probably seen it. A guy gets into dating or relationships, starts getting good at it. Then a buddy comes up and says, "Hey man, you are got good at this. Can you make Kate fall for me?" You know how a man who actually understands women reacts. He says, "Bro, why the hell would I do that?" And the other guy goes, "But you can, right?" "Yeah, I can. But we are not here looking for troubles. We enjoy the process and the results." Think about it. Right now, you walk outside or open an app, you find 15 women ready to talk. You are having fun. The vibe is light. They want to communicate with you. It's going well. So, why would you go out of your way to chase someone, try to make them fall for you? That's a completely different mindset. That's why the first step in this whole journey is simple. Let go of the need to be liked. Only after that can you start building real quality. This is crucial insight. Why does a woman lose interest? Why does she disappear, skip the next date, not get hooked, not fall for you, not chase you? Because you are predictable. Simple as that. Think about it. You texted a bit, went on a date, had some coffee, talked about everything and nothing. Now ask yourself just one question. What made that date different from your last 10 dates? Be honest. The answer, nothing. And if nothing stood out, why would she feel anything special about you? So here comes the next question. What do I do then? Look for another dating tip in a book? No, man, that's not the answer. Here is the real game changer. You've got to master the routine. Yeah, you heard that right. Only when you fully understand the routine, the boring, predictable stuff, can you start breaking it. And that's when you become unpredictable. That's when you start triggering emotions, real, mixed, powerful emotions. Because the key to connecting with a woman isn't just being nice or saying the right thing, it's making her feel something. Emotion beats logic, always. Almost every question guys bring me boils down to the same thing. Why did she lose interest? That's it. That's the whole story. She just got bored. The truth, the guy was basic, predictable, boring. He had nothing new to offer. He couldn't spark anything. He got lost in the routine, and somewhere in there, he caught feelings. But here is the hard pill to swallow. You need to go through at least 50, maybe even 100 dates, from the first text or direct message to the first call to the first meetup, maybe even a few follow ups. That's when you start seeing patterns. You'll practically memorize how things unfold. You'll be able to predict the next line, the next look, the next move. And after a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe two, you'll start to feel it. You'll sit across from a new woman, say hi again, watch how the energy builds, and suddenly notice the smallest signs. Here is she being shy, that's interesting. And boom, you'll know how to play off it. Not by guessing, not by hoping, but because you've been in the game long enough to recognize the moment. And after you've been on dozens and dozens of dates, something just clicks. You walk into another one, sit across from a cute girl, but instead of feeling excited, you just think to yourself, man, this is kind of boring. She's attractive, sure, but it doesn't feel like a big deal anymore. You are not putting her on a pedestal. You're just thinking, let's do something fun. So you throw out something spontaneous, unexpected, something she didn't see coming. Why? Because you've mastered the routine. And until a man has done that, until he's been through it enough to memorize every move, he doesn't even realize just how predictable he is. And here is the secret: your biggest advantage as a man is knowing how painfully boring most other men are. Once you grasp that, a switch flips in your head. You'll suddenly think, damn, these women must be so bored with the dudes. Any guy who tries to fake it, act cool, copy moves from YouTube, pretend he's alpha, he's gonna fail. Because women feel that stuff instantly. It's like dealing with a cop. He pulls you over today, tomorrow, next week, checks your license, lets you go. No big deal. But let's say one night you have a few drinks and early next morning you're driving to work or going fishing, same cop stops you again. And this time he looks at you and says, step out of the car, let's take a breath test. And you're like, wait, what? I was playing it cool. But he knows. He's seen it at all. And women, they've got that same sixth sense. Here is something most guys don't realize. The average woman has been on way more dates than the average man. And some dudes are like, how's that possible? Aren't there just as many men as women? Yeah, in theory. But here is the catch. Some guys go on a ton of dates, and a huge chunk of men, they go on zero. So when you average it out, your average woman has far more experience than you do. That means she can read you like a book. Your gestures, your micro expressions, your body language, your tone, she picks up on everything. If you're nervous, unsure of yourself, holding back instead of having fun, that connection is dead. It's over before it even starts. That's just the reality accepted. But hey, want a quick hack? Let's say the date sucked. You were stiff, awkward, not yourself, and now you're walking home thinking, damn, that was terrible. What can I do? Here is an idea. Right at the end of the date, be real. Just tell her straight, you know, I spent the whole date looking at you and thinking, you are really cute, and I honestly felt a little nervous because of that, but I want to kiss you. And then go for it. Why? Because at least you showed some guts. That one move might flip the script. It's a flash of realness, of courage, and that stands out. Of course, don't be an idiot. If she's clearly trying to leave, if she's not feeling it at all, don't push it. We're talking about a situation where she's still smiling at you, still hanging around, then yeah, that's your moment. If you are scared of looking insecure or shy, just say it. Seriously, that alone is a powerful move. Even if you totally screw it up, that's still a win. It's a valuable experience. Let's say you've never approached a woman in real life. You're nervous as hell. Then walk up to her and say, look, I want to talk to you, but I honestly don't know how. I'm not good at this, So tell me, how would you want a guy to approach you? Boom! You're no longer pretending. You're not faking confidence. You're being real. And trust me, even if she says no, you'll walk away with this deep sense of satisfaction inside. Because for once, you weren't trying to be someone else. You didn't mimic that guy from the book or that TikTok alpha male. You showed up as you, a man who's learning, evolving. That's the essence of the practice. So, what do you need to do? Put yourself in high stress situations, moments where you feel awkward, unsure, out of your depth, and find a way to enjoy it. That's where the growth happens. That's the game. And get this, you can even take the lead from a weak position. So, starting today, you've got one mission: catch yourself every single time you're focused on the outcome and shut that thought down. That's the number one thing to work on right now. Seriously, this shift alone can change your life, because if you don't, if you keep putting women on a pedestal and treating each one like a goal, you'll start acting like a desperate fisherman who thinks catching that one fish is life or death. He doesn't want to learn the process, he doesn't care about patience or progress, he's just panicking, hence rambling. First little splash in the water, he yanks the rod like crazy. Worse, when the fish is already biting, he still hesitates. What if I lose her? What if she gets away? Different mistakes, same route. Outcome obsession. Meanwhile, the old pro, he's sitting calm in one spot. Maybe he hasn't caught anything yet, but he knows how it works. And you are running around the lake, baiting 10 spots, chasing shadows. He just chills. And that fish come to him. Same with women. You hustle, you chase, you panic, and the one who stays grounded, he wins. Now, here is the trap. Guys in that outcome obsessed state start asking the wrong questions. How do I get her back? She ghosted me, what should I text? Tell me the trick. Dude, you are in the wrong mindset. You need to be reborn first, then ask questions. Let's get back to this idea: be, don't pretend. Some of the nastiest, most disgusting things I've seen men do, they didn't come from strong men. They came from guys pretending to be strong, because real, effective men, they're honest, always. If a man isn't looking for anything serious with a woman, he'll say it. No lies, no manipulation. He just speaks plainly. This is what I'm into. That's what I'm not. Is that noble? Not necessarily, but at least it's real. And that honestly gives the woman the power to decide for herself. Now, let's talk about the nasty stuff. The stuff that makes your skin crawl. That's why I've always had a problem with pickup culture. I've seen so many field reports over the years. These guys bragging about how they pulled some girl, how she was innocent, never been with anyone, and how he was her first, then ghosted her. And he's proud of that, seriously. He sends a report like it's some kind of trophy, maybe even exaggerates it to look cool. What kind of man does that? That's not a man. That's a guy addicted to role playing, wearing the white coat of masculinity, trying to feel important by faking it. And he always does it at someone else's expense, at the expense of the women around him, his friends, his family, even with the people closest to him. that guy, he'll never be a good husband, never be a real friend, a real teammate, or a real partner. He can't, because deep down he needs weaker people around just to feel strong. And here is the kicker: even if he ends up in a long-term relationship, he will lose. Eventually there will be a conflict. And what happens? He breaks. Every time he throws a tantrum, he bends the table, screams, throws a fake tough guy fit. Why? Because he's not being, he's still pretending. And the woman sees it. At first, she believes him, second time, she doubts, third time, she's done. And then, what does he do? He runs, almost always. How would the man act according to the image we're describing? Calmly. Something happens. The woman does something that doesn't sit well with him. How does he think? Well, it's just not right for him. He simply tells her calmly, listen, after what happened, I don't quite see how we could move forward in our relationship. It just wouldn't be right. I have different views, so I think it's best for us to end this or go our separate ways. He won't be swayed by her emotional appeals. If she says, why, you are wrong, he won't want to argue with her. Why would he? What's the point in proving anything? There is an action, and that's it. The end. He's protecting his comfort. Even if he does come back, it rarely brings him joy. What changed? Let's say she apologized. What does that change? Not much, really, especially if we are talking about something serious or transgression. It hasn't really changed anything. That's the point. Now, when we talk about the ego driven guy who's trying to act like a macho, for him, an apologize is super important, always. Why? Why does he want her to come crawling back? Because he needs to restore his sense of self importance. He's not thinking about comfort, he's thinking about his ego. Do you understand? Two very different things. This man lives in peace with himself, he enjoys life, he sees opportunities and he finds them. He's in harmony with himself. The other one isn't. He's trying to reinforce an image he doesn't actually live up to. And here is another little tip I want to share with you. Many ask, Maria, how do I set my rules with a woman? What's allowed and what's not? This is again an attempt at imitation. You either have that set of rules inside you or you don't. When you meet a woman, you don't tell her, I can't have you cheated on me. That's implied. You send that message out and it should be automatic. It's the same with your principles. If you have them, she will feel it. If a woman crosses the line, either it's absolutely unacceptable or you really don't have that principle and she senses it, she understands it. So you need to truly have those principles for yourself. But about a little trick. There have been many studies on this topic. They place several toys in a room, 5 identical ones, and they tell the person, you can take everything, touch anything, but this one particular toy you can't touch. Then they leave the room. The person becomes particularly interested in the toy that is off limits. So, if you during your interaction with a woman, when you feel like she's interested, there's a peak in the conversation, and you say to her, you are really interesting. I enjoy talking to you. You look great, but I wouldn't recommend getting into a relationship with me. if we are talking about that. It's just too difficult, too complicated. She'll ask why. You say, well, I have very specific conditions when it comes to relationships. For example, there are things that would make me consider a relationship unworkable. In other words, it would be easier for you to just go on Tinder. You don't have any trouble getting attention. You can just go there and find a guy who will put up with anything you want. I'm a different person. So here you need to think twice. And this is where the discussion starts. And this is a break from the usual pattern. It's not typical behavior for men, and it's done in a friendly manner. It's not about trying to increase dominance in the conversation. We are being honest about it. We didn't lie once. Well, I hope not. Thanks everyone for watching.